The Lonely Scarecrow. And I don't know about you, but I know this isn't really exactly scarecrow time of year. Often scarecrows are in the autumn. But you're going to see from this book that it covers a bunch of the different seasons. And because I was outside at Lucy's school today and I was really enjoying the weather and the new seasons, then, that inspired me to want to read a book that was about some of the seasons. All right, so The Lonely Scarecrow. He doesn't look too happy to start. We'll see how everything goes for the scarecrow. In the middle of a field, under the sky, the color of cornflowers, stood a scarecrow. He had a scary face but a kindly heart. More than anything, he wished that the animals and birds would be his friends. So he's meant to scare crows away, right? But he wants to be friends with all the animals. So he looks scary, but he really has a good heart. But the creatures of the field were afraid of the scarecrow's flapping coat and big black hat. They were afraid of his beady eyes, his crooked nose, and his jagged metal mouth. That's weird. I don't know why his mouth is made out of metal. Maybe the farmer stuck some metal stuff in there to make him look even more scary. In the spring, the scarecrow watched the animals play at the edge of his field. He watched the birds as they made their nest. He watched the carefree tumblings of fox cubs and rabbits. He listened to the noisy ducklings by the old pond. And all the time the animals watched the scary scarecrow, but they never came near. So you see, there's the scarecrow all by himself or herself. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy scarecrow. And there's all the animals gathering and playing together. Each day the swaying wheat in the field grew taller. The scarecrow lost sight of the animals. He lost even the happy song of the lark, drowned out by the whispering of the wheat. Marooned in his golden sea, the scarecrow lost hope of ever making friends. This is beautifully written. I love the descriptive words. Then the combine monster came to harvest the wheat. And they're talking about one of those wheat combines, such a big farm vehicle that harvests wheat. The animals hid from its churning jaws and the ravaged acres of mud and stubble that it left behind. They also hid from the scarecrow, who stood alone now in the empty field. It's a beautiful scene. That reminds me of, the area around Maryland where Lucy's school is. From the north came a sly breeze that stole the leaves from the trees and the light from the days. The animals hurried home to their warm burrows and cozy nests. And the scarecrow felt even lonelier, for he knew that winter was coming. I love how that first couple of lines, how it says, from the north came a sly breeze, a sly, almost like a fox, that stole the leaves from their trees. It's a really interesting way to look at. Let me go ahead and get a friend in here. Hey, sorry if you're just coming in, friend. I just saw you waiting there. Snow fell heavily one night and kept on falling. It fell on the bare, still woods and on the silent fields. Slowly it covered the ground where the scarecrow stood. And for our friend who just came in, we're reading about a scarecrow that's really lonely, and all the animals don't like to go near the scarecrow because it looks scary. But it really has a kind heart. You can see that picture there. Poor scarecrow. In the morning, the animals woke to a world that had changed. A thick blanket of snow covered the frozen earth. The scarecrow seemed to have vanished too. In his place stood a jolly snowman. It's amazing how people's ideas or perceptions of something can change based on what they see now. Before it looked like a scary scarecrow, now it looks like a jolly, happy snowman. And who's afraid of a snowman or a snow girl? The creatures played happily in the field, rolling and tumbling in the snow around the scarecrow. And the scarecrow? Well, he was as cheerful and bright as the sunny winter day. You can see all the animals are crawling all over, and the scarecrow has a nice smile. Although he was happy, the scarecrow was afraid of what would happen when he lost his snowy coat. He was afraid that the animals would shrink from his twisted shape. Most of all, he was afraid he would be alone again. And then the snow began to thaw. You see, all the animals really love the snowman. The snow slipped off the scarecrow's shoulders and dripped from the brim of his hat. When the last patches of snow fell from his face, the animals looked up in wonder. Could the friendly snowman be the same scary creature they had feared for so long? As the warmth of spring stirred the brown earth, the scarecrow felt a bird peck at his hat and a mouse nestle in the folds of his coat, and the scarecrow knew that he would never be lonely again. Oh, that's so sweet. I love the way that ended. Let's see. And that's it. That's the end of the book. Now this is interesting. This is like a summary of a book. You know, if you're ever looking to pick out a book, you could always go like look at the front, and then you could look at the back too. The back will often give a description or a summary of the book, which is a shorter version of what the book is about. In the middle of a field, under the sky, the color of cornflowers, stood a scarecrow. More than anything, the scarecrow wants to be friends with the playful animals who live in the field. But they are too afraid of this crooked carrot nose and the jagged metal mouth to come near. When a snowstorm disguises him as a jolly snowman, the scarecrow is given a second chance to win their friendship. But what will happen when he loses his snowy coat and his new friends realize who he really is? Do you see what the author does, or the people who publish this book are doing? They're giving you some information to tell you what the book is about. Oh, but they're going to put a question at the end there that makes you say, I want to know how that ends up. I want to know how this question get answered. I need to read this book. You'll see that is very common on books. They'll pose a